Go for it.
Hi, welcome to the BlueMilk podcast, where we talk about anything and everything Star Wars related. You'll notice there's a slight difference today. We're missing the middleman. Well, that would be me normally. We're missing the person that I'm replacing.
Replacement. Dun,
dun, dun! Jacob is off in La La Land doing whatever the hell he is doing. Yeah.
That's accurate.
It is accurate, isn't it?
He's somewhere in the Star Wars universe.
So today it will be just me, BJ, and
drinking, and squeak.
Look at the long kitty.
He's happy.
Yeah, he's getting attention. He's super happy. Anyway, so Mr. Drinking, I believe you were saying you had a topic to discuss.
I might
this evening.
I might. Gets a little philosophical.
Well, we don't skirt away from the philosophical here.
No, we don't. We try to avoid the racism.
We don't really skirt away from the racism either. We edit it out.
All right, that's true.
We generally try to skirt away from politics.
Politics, yes. Politics we avoid as much as we can. Okay, so a little philosophical thing. Emperor Palpatine.
Mm-hmm.
He was very impressive with his wisdom and ability to manipulate the Force and seeing things before they would happen, seeing how things would play out and manipulate the people in order to get to a particular end. So what I was wondering is how probable would it be for Palpatine to manipulate the Force in order to get Qui-Gon and Kenobi together to find Anakin in order to bring Anakin to Palpatine? Is it possible that he would have known that there was something out there strong enough in the Force that could become his apprentice, other than Darth Maul?
I don't think.
I know, but try.
I don't think Palpatine was fully aware of Anakin. I'm sure he was aware of a prophecy of a chosen one that would bring balance to the Force, because that was something that is prevalent in Jedi lore.
Okay.
So I feel like he would know that they have a concept of a chosen one that would come and bring balance. I don't think he knew it was Anakin. I don't think he was responsible for manipulating the Jedi Council and sending Qui-Gon in that direction. Like, as I believe it was what Qui-Gon was saying, that the Force works in mysterious ways.
Did he say that?
It's something along those lines, because it was happen chance that they landed on Tatooine.
But was it really? That's what I'm.
Well, it was.
Okay.
Because Palpatine, I'm not downplaying Palpatine's capability to manipulate the Force and people. He is masterful at both of those.
Until his unfortunate trophy position.
Yeah. I don't think that... Squirrel. I don't think that Palpatine... Well, I don't... If we're talking prequels, I don't think that Palpatine was the one that was responsible for a lot of what happened. I think Palpatine, he knows people. And he knows how... Part of being really, really good at manipulating people is knowing how people in general will react to certain stimulus.
And with Jedi, that's pretty easy to predict.
Yeah, especially considering they're kind of... At that point in time, they were very much kept like high-strung. They were very... They were put under a microscope because they were constantly being, told that people mistrusted the Jedi or the Force users, or they didn't quite think that they were good or people or whatever. And so they were constantly put into this position where they had to prove themselves at all times. On top of that, they believed themselves solely responsible for keeping the Republic alive. Like, they themselves took on a lot of that responsibility themselves, so... Putting a group of people under such high tension, it definitely allows for, with the right match, you could set off that powder keg. And I think Palpatine recognized that fact. He was definitely responsible for the increase of the dark side. As Yoda said, the future was clouded by the dark side.
That happens often.
True.
For whatever reason, Jedi cannot see what happens on the dark side of things, which is a limitation for them.
I honestly think that the reason is... I think the reason why they restrict their view to not dark side is simply because they believe that if they do anything involving the dark side, it corrupts them. And that kind of mentality is not the best kind of mentality to have. I mean, the best examples, Freudian slip, excuse me. The best example would be when Rey, and now you know I had the Freudian slip, is when Rey, was on the island with Luke in episode 8, and Luke has her go out and, extend her senses and just feel the Force kind of thing. And then he's following her around with his own senses, and she senses the dark side, and she just goes straight for it. Like, she doesn't fear the dark side. She kind of just goes into it because she wants to know all of the Force, not just this one aspect that the Jedi say that she can only learn.
Right.
Kind of thing. So...
Now, in that case, with Luke, at that point, he is not a Jedi Master. He had disregarded all the Jedi teachings.
The thing is he hadn't.
I agree with that. But in his own head, he had. He threw all that away. It was still there.
Yeah.
So maybe she helped him see a little bit.
But are you implying that a Jedi Master would be more open to... seeing the dark side and not be adverse?
Not would be.
Because Yoda...
Should be more open to it.
But Yoda, if you notice, I don't think he was very open.
No. Yoda was very much light side.
Yeah.
And he was very much light side. This is the way it is. This is the way it should be. There is no dark side at all in a Jedi. None. And that's why he couldn't see the dark side.
Well, that's why he couldn't see through the dark side. Because, the dark side was clouding his vision.
Yeah.
So essentially...
as soon as dark side appeared, or I'm using that as a general term, as soon as the dark side appeared, that's a wall. He can't see past that.
Because he's unwilling to
accept it.
He's unwilling to utilize, or not necessarily utilize.
You wouldn't even have to utilize it.
I wouldn't even say ascendant
the fact that it's there.
Well, no, they accept the fact that dark side is there.
They don't accept it. They know it's there. They don't accept it.
They accept the fact that the dark side exists. They reject anything involving the dark side.
All right.
So they know it's there, but they reject it vehemently because of their teachings. They're unwilling to interact with anything dark side simply out of the bias that they believe all dark side is evil.
And had Yoda actually
been more willing to embrace,
he would have seen what was coming.
I'm not necessarily stating using dark side. I'm not saying it's nothing along those lines of a Jedi needs to use the dark side in order to understand the dark side or something like that. It's nothing along those lines. They just need to be more open in their lines of logic that a different way of thinking exists and exists for a reason. There are plenty of instances where just changing the way you think about a problem allows you to find the solution to said problem.
Very true.
So it falls along the lines of if you're just allow this alternate thought process to exist, to coexist with your own thought processes, maybe you can come to a solution. And I think the Jedi were very narrow in their perception or their thought process that prevented them from doing anything involving interacting or accepting of, well, not necessarily accepting, but interaction with the dark side.
So again, because of that, is it possible, at all possible, that Palpatine could have manipulated things to bring Anakin to him?
I don't think he specifically was responsible for Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. Let me put it that way. He could have manipulated the Council to send someone to Naboo, because that's where it all starts in Episode 1, is with the sending of a couple of Jedi to the, the Merchant Guild?
The Trade Federation.
Yeah, the Trade Federation that was blockading Naboo.
Right.
And it wouldn't surprise me, considering the fact that Naboo is the home planet of Palpatine. So it would not surprise me that he
may have been spending years working on Padme as well.
I don't think he was working on Padme. He doesn't need to work on Padme. She's a pointless pawn. That's literally. I want to say Padme was an easy in for him. And it was unexpected but pleasant surprise probably for him when that happened, because then he found a way to manipulate a person that he did want. So I'm sure he would have found a way to manipulate Anakin any other way. I mean, there's plenty of other hints to Anakin.
Later on, you can see that Palpatine realizes Anakin is somebody he needs to pay attention to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's something we all see.
Yeah.
But my question is, would he have had the foresight to manipulate previously to get that particular person in front of his face?
I'm pretty certain he manipulated the Council into sending Jedi to the droid, to the merchants. Or the Trade Federation. To the Trade Federation. Because at this point, Palpatine is actually the one manipulating the Trade Federation. I mean, you find that out in the movie. That Palpatine, that Newt Gunray, the head guy of the Trade Federation that's up on the ship, is literally answering to Darth Sidious.
Yes.
Who we later find out is Palpatine. So, I mean, we know that they are being manipulated. So, the fact that they were, it's, if you look at the long con, Palpatine probably told the Trade Federation to blockade Naboo because Palpatine knew that it was his planet, so he could make it look like, hey, I need you guys to send someone here because that's my planet.
Right.
So it allowed him an in that way to allow a manipulation.
It's manipulating the Senate in order to make him look better.
It's several manipulations. One from the Trade Federation to get them to blockade Naboo. Second one would be to manipulate the Senate to essentially put pressure on the Jedi Council, and then he himself probably put pressure on the Jedi Council to also send someone to, I believe it was a negotiation. Yeah, is what Qui-Gon trying to negotiate a polite solution,
something like that. Yeah,
yeah, that is what they were trying to the two Jedi were sent there to do, and I'm certain that he wanted it all to look like, he wanted it all to fall through and actually go the way it did. So he probably manipulated all of that. Them landing on Tatooine, I don't think was part of that. I think he was happy and found he was pleased with the outcome of all of that. But I think a lot of it had to do. Well, he did send Darth Maul after Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, but he sent him after them when they were on Naboo, and he followed them to Tatooine.
So you don't think that he was aware of Anakin prior to the Jedi finding him?
Correct. I think if they hadn't landed on Tatooine and found Anakin, I don't think Palpatine would have ever actually had Anakin. He would have had plenty of other people. He would have had Darth Maul. He would have had Darth Tichondrius, which is Count Dooku. He would have had all of these other.
And we saw how well Darth Maul worked out.
Well, that fight never would have happened in theory because the reason that whole thing went through was because of them protecting Anakin and needing to do all this stuff. So, the whole series of events might have drastically changed if they hadn't landed on Naboo. Or, not on Naboo, on Tatooine, I'm sorry. If they hadn't landed on Tatooine, the series of events might have gone a completely different route. Anakin would have grown up a slave on Tatooine.
A Force-wielding slave.
Yeah.
In small doses, not full-blown,
yeah,
a Jedi or anything
he's still very capable of using the Force. That's a proven fact. He obviously does use the Force to some degree when he's pod racing and with his mechanical aptitude and all of that. Even piloting spaceships and everything.
Raw power. It's not
trained focused power.
It's not acknowledged power.
It's not trained focused power.
It would be viewed as intuition.
Yeah. Which is essentially what a lot of people were saying when he was pod racing. No one really thought of him as a Force user when he was pod racing. Right. They just thought he just was really good. He just had the aptitude to do it.
Apparently he was. He hadn't died.
Yeah, no, he was really good at pod racing.
For a human.
Well, considering there weren't any others that were human.
Probably because they all died.
Yeah, I think that was one of the main things. I think a lot of humans ended up dying because of that. But regardless, I think a lot of what Palpatine and we're gonna go if we're gonna go even further back, if we're looking at the long con, I think a lot of what Palpatine, his manipulations and a lot of the foundations of how he was able to get to how he was able to get into the Senate and had the money, the political power, the backing to do what he did. I think a lot of that comes from Darth Bane. Darth Bane laid the foundation. He's the one that had manipulated. He started the manipulation. He's the one that started the spider web. so to speak, of dark side energy that allowed Palpatine to do what he did.
I'll agree with that. Because what he did with the manipulation that Bane did with Khan on Rusan before...
Have you read the third one?
Before the thought bomb. No, I'm still on the second right now.
Okay.
The Rule of Two.
The third one is where it really...
Holy shit. Get the Bane books.
Yes.
The books are awesome.
Yeah,
the first one I really like. The second one, it took me a while to get into, and I'm about halfway through it now, and I'm kind of pissed at myself that I didn't get into it earlier, because it's really good. I really like it.
The third one is where shit starts actually, like, you see him...
Shit's happening now, man!
No, the third one is where he actually, like, you start seeing him build a spider web. I'm not even joking. The third one is where you actually start seeing him build the spider web, where he's like, okay, now you have like all of these connections to all of these underground criminal organizations. Like you start seeing where he starts getting like the money, the backing, and everything, and it really allows you to it opens up your eyes to like see like the long con essentially, where he's like, eventually the Republic will fall. It may not be today, but it will fall, and it's because of what I'm doing now. So, in that respect, the Jedi are very short-sighted in everything they do. Oh, yeah.
Everything
absolutely.
they do. They don't think beyond...
I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Here and now.
They're very right now, solve problems right now. I mean, they're somewhat okay with looking into the future, but they have a rather limited perspective of like their
It's not that they're limited. They restrict their own selves. They know it's there, but they don't allow themselves to look beyond what's going on right now.
Well, that's not necessarily... I mean, Yoda
said that too.
Yoda is very good at, like, looking out into the future and interpreting the signs that the Force allows, like, that the Force shows him.
Right.
Yoda's a prime example of what a Jedi Master is capable of in his...
Yoda also had...
precognitive capabilities.
At that point, 800 and some years, creeping up on 900 years of experience to be able to do that. But you're dealing with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and Anakin, where Obi-Wan tells Anakin, keep your mind on the here and now.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's the same thing. Do
not focus on what's going on out there.
Well, you also got to look at the fact that, like, a lot of the examples of, like, what Jedi tell their students to do is be instinctual. Like, don't think about what's going to happen. Don't think at all.
I agree.
Don't think at all. Just let your body handle the situation as it comes.
I agree with that to a certain extent.
I mean, it's necessary.
You need to be aware of others, but yes, be instinctual.
Because I mean, it's a prime example.
That's also being reactionary, and reactionary is not always a good thing.
When Obi-Wan is teaching Luke on the Millennium Falcon with the little droid, he's like, extend your senses out around you and react.
Yes.
And then he also does the same thing when Obi-Wan's voice is whispering to Luke in his ears through the Force about shooting the torpedo. He's like, don't think.
That is training. That is training. Once you get beyond
But that's what the Jedi training is.
Once you get beyond the training, once you have training, you should be able to
extend out.
And they don't.
No.
They don't
That's because that's what the training is. That's the Jedi training is narrow your perspective. Be a laser. Now. And don't think so much about the consequences because the Force does... Well, no, it's literally... The Force...
No, I laugh because you're right.
The Force will deal with everything. Like, the Force wills as it wills. That's the Jedi way of thinking. We are here because of the Force. Like Qui-Gon and Anakin. Like, Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Anakin. Finding them on Tatooine. That was literally... It was like Qui-Gon...
the Force.
Yeah. It was the Force wills it, so it's going to happen.
That's why I brought up
Palpatine.
The question, Palpatine. Could Palpatine have manipulated things? If that force, since the dark side tends to think more...
That's not necessarily true.
Term,
That's not necessarily true. Look at Darth Maul.
Well...
Darth Maul's a prime example of
Darth
narrowing...
Maul's just a half-man.
Well, he's a half... No, not man, remember?
Oh,
he's a half-rack. He's a half-rack.
Half-rack. Yeah. Half-rack of ribs.
Yeah. But no, I mean, like, there are plenty of other examples in the literature, in everything that for Star Wars in general. It's usually like when you think of like the great grandmasters of both sides, you look at like Palpatine is one of them because he actually had a vision, the foresight, the thoughtfulness to do a lot of... He understood setbacks, but understood that, like, losing a battle doesn't lose a war kind of situation.
Beyond the now.
But Yoda did the same thing. Yoda did the same thing by...
denied the possibility of the dark side.
No, he didn't. He understood
He focused only on the light side.
That's correct. But he understood that the light side was there. He rejected it, but he understood that it was still there.
Because he rejected it, he didn't see it. But
Yoda's belief, like the way Yoda thinks, is not the same as every other Jedi.
No.
Because you'll notice all the council deferred to Yoda.
Yes.
All of them.
And
that is simply because Yoda had a singular perception of how the Force worked.
And
his perception...
Even Dooku did not really want to fight Yoda.
No one wants to fight Yoda. But you have to understand, Yoda and Palpatine are vastly similar characters because they have a similar perception. Palpatine, the way Palpatine thinks is he's dark side. He understands the light side exists, but he rejects the light side. Yoda...
Palpatine does not reject the light side.
He never uses the light side.
He doesn't need to.
No. He could very easily have need for the use of the light side.
Such as?
I don't see Sith users using Force Persuasion.
I don't see Jedi users using Mind Trick.
Yeah.
They shouldn't.
I understand.
Mind
but
Trick
I'm pointing...
is technically a dark side trait.
It depends on how you use it, because it's all in perception and understanding. Dude,
then light side and dark side is all bullshit anyway.
Well, no, there's a light side and a dark side. I mean, like, literally, if you're force choking someone with the intent to kill them, that's absolutely dark side.
But if you're using kill them for a good reason...
No, because killing in general is bad.
According to who?
The great arbiter of everything. It's not my fault. We're talking Star Wars here, pal.
That's true.
Great arbiter of everything.
I get it.
Killing people is bad.
Right. So who is the great arbiter?
George Lucas, probably. But I mean,
not anymore.
No, yeah, definitely not anymore. Now it's Disney.
Now it's Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, Mickey Mouse.
So it could go either way.
No, that's not necessarily true. I don't think Disney
I think Mickey Mouse is pretty dark.
I definitely don't think that Disney is going to promote killing people is a good thing. I've never seen...
As long as the people are bad, killing them is okay.
I don't even think they're going to go that far.
That's the way it's always been. That's the way it's always going to be.
Mm-mm.
Yes.
No, I don't...
How many stormtroopers have died?
Psh, that happens in every... How many rebel troopers have died?
And we consider them bad guys? Well, rebel troopers aren't bad guys. Well, we don't think they're bad guys. They might be bad guys.
I mean, the closest approximation to understanding what a rebel trooper is actually like would be Rogue One.
Yeah.
And they were some pretty shady motherfuckers.
Yeah, they're mercenaries.
Yeah. A lot of them were. Smugglers, mercenaries, bounty hunters. Don't
be mercenaries, kids.
No, you can be a mercenary. Just be a good one.
Whatever that means.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
But I don't think Palpatine, honestly, we're going to sidetrack there.
Yeah, sorry.
I don't think Palpatine was purely responsible for manipulating them to finding Anakin on Tatooine. I think that was just a fortuitous event that came up.
Do you think he had the ability to do that?
No. I don't think...
Later on, do you think he would have had the ability?
No, I don't... Because you got to read too much into, like, his what he does. And honestly, his plans were very straightforward from the beginning. His plans were very straightforward. He wanted to follow the Republic, and he wanted the Empire to rise with him as the Emperor. So he definitely was... Yeah, well, that was what he said. As we know, peace is a lie, regardless. And that he actually told Anakin that before Anakin even knew the credo of the Sith, so...
That's true.
So, I mean, once he became Darth Vader, it doesn't matter what he told him when he was Anakin.
That's true. Well, okay. Anakin and Vader are the same people.
They're the same person, yes.
Darth Vader was a choice.
And he willingly chose to destroy the Anakin Skywalker persona.
Agreed.
To become Darth Vader. He ceased being that person and became someone completely different.
And in that respect, Obi-Wan was absolutely correct in Episode 4.
That Luke's father died?
Yes.
Yeah.
He did die.
For all intents and purposes.
A new being was born at that point.
When he became Darth Vader fully in the suit and everything, yeah, I would definitely go. After the no.
Yeah. After the no. That was the last bit of bitchy Anakin.
Was the no?
The no.
Yeah.
That was the last.
Well, in the comic, it picks up right after that. Right after that, fucking Palpatine throws him through a fucking wall and says, if you ever touch me with the Force again, I'll kill you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I gotta get the fucking comic.
It's pretty good, actually. Fucking, yeah, Palpatine, like, literally, he gets super pissed because Palpatine, like, Vader crushed all that stuff and he was crushing the whole thing. And yeah, Palpatine wasn't affected, but he was still being...
pummeled by the...
Yeah, he still had to push out, like, his own force powers to resist Vader's.
That makes sense, because in Anakin being reactionary would have thrown that force power everywhere. There would have been no control over
He didn't have any control.
There would have been absolutely no control. And since Palpatine was right fucking there...
He was getting pummeled by it.
He would have been affected.
So he got super pissed, and then he pretty much after Vader like stopped, he fucking kneeled down. Oh no! He didn't throw him through a wall. He crispied him. He just went. Yeah, he just went.
After the whole Mustafar.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, he fucking shocked him with lightning and everything.
Nice.
And Vader's just like
Nice.
Yeah, and Palpatine's like, I understand your rage. Learn to control it.
Knock it off, asshole.
Yeah, don't ever touch me with the Force again, because if you do, I'll kill you. That's what he tells him. And then the Vader's just like, alright. Whatever.
Alright. I'm going to the dark side. I'm gonna get some ribs or something.
Nah, he ends up, like, Palpatine tells him to go find a new lightsaber.
Really?
Well, yeah, he lost his old one, so he has to make a new one.
He lost a lot of his old ones.
He lost one.
No, he lost a lot.
Anakin didn't lose any.
Anakin lost a lot.
No, he didn't. He always had the same lightsaber.
No. Let's see.
That was, as Obi-Wan says to Luke, that's your father's lightsaber that he used. And straight up until he cut his arm off and took it away from him.
Yeah, that's true.
And then that's why he had no lightsaber when he was Vader, when he like came off the table and went, no. And then right after that,
lost my lightsaber, no.
Right after that, Palpatine's like, so now you need to go find a new weapon. So that's when he's like, you need to go find a Jedi. And he tells him about the kyber crystals and how like.
So that's where the whole
making the red
torturing
lightsaber.
The kyber crystal comes into play.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He has to kill a Jedi and then take their lightsaber and then essentially torture the kyber crystal to make it red. He has to make it bleed.
At the possible potential of starting a new topic, where did Palpatine get his lightsaber from?
He made it with his Darth Plagueis was his master, and I believe he made it under him.
Did he make it, or did he take it from Plagueis?
He made it because his story is pre-Disney.
What story isn't? Except the latest ones.
Yeah, no, I think the book that they came out that was based around Darth Plagueis, that book is pre-Disney, I believe. And with that, there were red crystals that just grew. Like, it was just another color.
Okay, so it didn't have to do with torturing the...
No, that's a pure Disney thing.
Okay.
In an attempt to make Sith seem more evil.
Which... They
really is unnecessary.
They don't seem evil to me at all. They just have a different way of looking at things.
I don't fucking get it. It's this whole, good guy, bad guy perception thing. It is what it is, I mean, honestly.
Shit, I see just as many bad things from the Jedi as I do from the Sith.
Yeah. I mean, the Jedi... the thing is our perspective of the Star Wars universe is rather limited, based on the fact that all of the movies pretty much follow just the Skywalker family line.
Right.
So it's rough.
Right.
Which kind of takes us into something else. But
hold on.
How long?
We shouldn't. We are out of time. So.
Well, how long have we gone?
A long time.
Longer than?
A long time.
Oh, no. We're done. Thank you for joining us this week on the BlueMilk podcast. Sorry, we seem to be coming to a rather abrupt end, and we left it at a cliffhanger where we actually do have another topic, but we'll get to that in the next episode when we have Jacob back, ideally.
Watch for new commercials.
Oh yeah,
we're trying to put them out every Friday.
We are indeed we are recording new episodes or new commercials, so look forward to those. Wait, the commercials are only going up on Facebook?
They're only on Facebook.
Oh,
they're not on YouTube.
All right, well, yeah, YouTube. Get on Facebook, like us, share us, subscribe, get us out there.
If you become a follower.
If you like what you see, let us know.
Yeah, okay. I'll go with that. If you like, yeah.
Well, see, I mean, okay. it's the adage of, like, you don't hear anything from anyone unless it's a complaint.
True.
You don't hear the positive stuff.
So if you hate us, leave a comment.
Well, odds are they probably will leave a comment if they don't like us. They'll be like, this is shit. But if you do like us, please leave a comment and let us know that we're doing an all right job and that you're enjoying it. But yeah, we have Facebook, BlueMilkPodcast.com, all spelled out. Then we also have Reddit.
It's still the Blue Milk Podcast.
And we have a Twitter.
That's
Blue Milk.
Blue Milk Podcast, because some asshole decided not to put the in there. Something about character limitations or something.
Well, that's a fault on Twitter.
Or whatever.
It's not his fault. It's a fault on Twitter.
I'm still blaming.
Would you rather have it be the Blue Milk Pod?
I might. I'd still blame him. Either way, I'd still blame him.
I'll go with that. But regardless, have a good evening. Join us again next time. Dude.